Hey Guardians, I just want to let everyone know that I do have both a Twitch and a Twitter, and I'm very active on both. Feel free to come give me a follow on both, links in the description. So let me ask you guys something. Do you like regularly matching people playing the game from a Walmart parking lot? Do you like it when your weapons just straight up refuse to work? Do you like literally being spawned in someone's sniper scope? What the fuck was that? Do you like literally being spawned right next to enemy supers? Do you like fighting infinite heavy ammo? Well, if you said no to any of that, then do not, I repeat, please do not queue Iron Banner. Guardians, first off, I apologize if I sound off. I'm just getting over a pretty nasty cage match with COVID, and my lungs are still feeling pretty rough, but back on topic. I say this from the bottom of my heart, it is time for Iron Banner to be shelved for a long while. I mean, this has got to be the most pointless version of PvP in the game. You have 4 modes, Fortress, which is probably the best of the group, minus the insanely frequent heavy spawns. Cammy did a video on that I'll link in the description, where he talks about how absurdly often heavy ammo spawns in Fortress for literally no reason, and it spawns in semi-random locations, which means it could even appear in the enemy spawn and give their entire team LMG ammo. Then you have Iron Banner Control, which is fine. The whole mechanic of a triple cap, removing the opposite team's ability to cap at all for a period of time, is stupid, but other than that, it's functional. Then you have Eruption, which is now the worst PvP mode in the game, period. It started out as a kind of fun, sort of interesting gimmick, which was promptly ruined by 2 factors. One, it got SBMM. A mode that literally requires kill streaks got SBMM. And 2, if you do get a streak going, you're put on a timer, and if you don't get a kill before that timer runs out, you blow up. Which is fine right up until you play Eternity or Disjunction and have to run a 5-mile marathon to get another kill. Plus, the timer means that you're forced to constantly push hyper-aggressively, which forces you to take any fight you can, which forces you into situations you'd normally never run into, which means it literally punishes you for playing well and ends up making teams hold hands and move in blobs because they're afraid of being forced to overextend. Then lastly, you have Tribute. We're not even going to talk about Tribute. It's genuinely an awful mode. If you haven't played it yet somehow, just know mechanically it's essentially just a purely PvP gambit, but with the addition of terrible spawns and a bank that's constantly on the move. So you have one actually very good mode, which is ruined by heavy ammo spawns. You have one okay mode that's basically just control with an added truly idiotic triple cap mechanic, and 2 awful modes that virtually nobody wants to play. So what about the loot? It's a PvP mode we get for a limited amount of time each season. It should have great loot, right? Wrong. But you might say, hey, but what about Cremills? It's a 120 with precision instrument. I'm going to stop you right there and tell you to walk your ass down to Saint 14 on a trials weekend, buy a card of wealth, get a bunch of engrams, and then go focus Igneous from the legacy pool, because Igneous is still superior in every possible way to Cremills, and it has precision instrument. What about Multi-Mach? Do you want me to list the SMGs in this game that are better than Multi-Mach? Because that is a long list. Occluded Finality. If you're on controller, I guess, but outside of that, literally just go craft Beloved or focus Mercurial at Shaxx. Reese Walker, Swordbreaker exists. Jorum's Claw. Are you really going to use an adaptive frame pulse when Elsie's exists? Be honest with yourself. Well, what about Bite of the Fox? Stop coping. Please, for the love of God, just go craft Defiance of Yasmin. Pretty much every weapon in Saladin's arsenal has an equivalent or superior somewhere else, often from activities that are more pleasant and or easier than Iron Banner. Now, if Steady Hand was available with its old Slide Shot Iron Grip and Slide Shot Swash rolls, that would be one thing, but for some godforsaken reason, it isn't, which is truly insane, because if Bungie wants people to invest in Banner, literally all they would have to do is add Steady Hand to the legacy pool. No, it's not as good as Iggy, but at the very least those rolls offer something unique in the world of of 120s. So what about cosmetics? We have not had any good ones from Iron Banner since the chainmail shader. Emblems? Not really. Well, at the very least, since this is a quote-unquote celebration of PvP, as I believe Bungie put it in the past, then it should at least be fun to actually play, right? Still wrong. Play solo and you'll constantly match stacks because, for some godforsaken reason, we traded freelance for tire team-based matchmaking in a mode where people stack like crazy, and the PvP population being in the bottom of the gutter isn't helping there either, on top of all of PvP's current issues with special weapon spam, ability spam, and in Fortress the added bonus of constantly fighting LMGs. But hey, Iron Banner's a great way to power level, right? Well, 6s is genuinely sweatier than comp and trials these days. Any new light that spends more than 10 minutes in Iron Banner probably just isn't coming back to PvP. So, Iron Banner genuinely serves no purpose. 2 of the modes are outright terrible, the loot is mid at best, there's no freelance, connections are awful, and it's genuinely just unpleasant to play. At some point, Bungie just needs to take the L and shelve Iron Banner until they can do something to make it feel like it's not a tremendous waste of time. This week in Iron Banner is Eruption, and in the past, Bungie had said that when Iron Banner is up, the rotating CBMM node would have a non-party mode for those who don't want to play Banner, but still want a semi-normal PvP experience, which clearly is why we have Team Scorch this week. So, your choices are either a mode that literally punishes you for playing well, or Dollar Store Quake. So I guess I'm just not playing PvP this week, which means I'm probably just not playing Destiny. Iron Banner needs better loot first and foremost, and it needs a better map rotation because for the love of God, why do I get Citadel 3 times in a row but Jav 4 once a day if I'm lucky? And it needs CBMM so I'm not constantly fighting players abusing the McDonald's Wi-Fi movement tech, and it needs better cosmetics, it needs to drop materials more often, it needs to drop more strange coins, and it needs the truly egregious price of focusing cut down to like a tenth of what it is now because none of these weapons are worth 20k in Glimmer per focus. Listen, Saladin, I love you, man, you're a badass, but your game mode fucking sucks, and you need to fly back to Kaido's ship and not come back until you can pull your head out of your ass. The utter incompetence with which PvP has been handled comes out in full force in Iron Banner. I mean, listen, Trials is a shit mode. It just is. A no respawn mode in a game with 1,000 different flavors of random bullshit that will kill you out of nowhere is objectively a stupid ass idea. But at least Trials has rewards that make it worth playing. Igneous Hammer, the Messenger, the Summoner, Shayura's Wrath, so on and so forth, and Iron Banner doesn't even have that going for it. Iron Banner needs a complete rework from the ground up, and it just needs to go away until it can get that rework. But that's all for me today, Guardians. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to check my links in the description, hit that like button, and as always, hit that subscribe button with the bell icon. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace, Guardians.